Today is the final opportunity to reach out to us for our Summer Shred Challenge. All you have to do is send us a message with the keyword Summer Shred to our Instagram, which is Colossus Fit, COLOSSUSFIT. These spots will go by quick, and we are looking to take on 3 more motivated people looking to feel their best, to get ready for summer, to have the opportunity to win amazing prizes, up to $2,000 cash for first place. And we can't wait to have you just succeed over the next 30 days and join an amazing group of people that are absolutely going to be crushing it. So make sure to send us a message, Summer Shred, and we can't wait to help you. And now into the episode.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fit, Healthy, and most of all, Happy podcast. I'm your coach and host, Josh, here with
his co-host and co-coach, KUG, and I'm in the house.
Coming at you with Motivation Monday. So let's get fired up. Let's waste no time and let's jump into some killer quotes. I'm really passionate about mine, so I'm going to go ahead and kick this party off. So first and foremost, we have the quote, "You don't stop lifting when you get old. You get old when you stop lifting." So me and Kyle have been at a new gym, and it's been absolutely amazing just seeing the individuals there. There's one guy in particular, he's like low 60s, but looks incredible. Looks like he's 30. He's just crushing it. Good lean physique, strong, moving well, really active. And it's just amazing. Anyone I know who's in their 70s and 80s, and I see them in the gym every day, it's amazing how much more able they are than other people I know, like even some people close to me who don't move as much, who are facing some of that deterioration, who are seeing their muscles start to go away as they get older. And it is the natural process of aging. And the best way to fight against that is actually lifting weights. And we get asked often, like, what is the best way to like just maximize longevity? And as I mentioned, I read Dr. Peter Attia's book, which was quite long, and I think it'd be summarized by, hey, get stronger, lift heavy weights, make sure you're lifting to maximize your composition. And the benefits are just endless. And if you want to stay young, you want to stay active, you want to be injury resistant, it's really important you do prioritize lifting. And even lately, I've been joking with Kyle because all the time, because our gym has fantastic pickleball courts and pickleball's fun, a lot of people will opt out of actually doing their weight training because they'll play pickleball, they'll be active, and there's nothing wrong with being active. But sometimes when you do it in place of something else that's really good, that will push you forward, that's where it can be an issue. So if you've been slacking on those weightlifting sessions, I really do want to challenge you to make sure you're just getting in there, you're getting them done. It's going to do justice for you, like I said, for making sure you stay young, making sure your body stays young, and most importantly, just really being healthy. And also you get the aesthetic benefit as well.
Yeah, honestly, so underrated. I mean, at least I'd say maybe properly rated these days. I'm glad that a lot of influencers and Instagram pages are pushing lifting out there more often. But I know still to this day we'll get, messages on Instagram where someone will say, "Hey, I've always been a cardio bunny. I'm looking to start weight training. Where do you recommend starting?" We have lots of great episodes within just weightlifting and the greatest exercises and all that great stuff. But yeah, do not wait. Like I always recommend it to, even like Josh was saying, people closer to me. I'm like, you just gotta, like, these classes are fun. Like, these sports are cool. Like, it is a great time, but lifting will be the greatest thing for you, as we always like to say. So my quote for this week is, "The more you give, the more you get." And I really like this quote because I feel like you can relate it to a bunch of different things. Obviously, just being a better person, giving with your time, giving with your knowledge. That's what we try to do here. Giving with gifts. I mean, there's so many different things. So when I was searching it up, I was trying to figure out who came up with this quote. And that's kind of more or less what everyone was talking about on Google is, how great it is. And you always get a lot back, especially just in terms of how you feel. Like, I will always feel great giving someone, some knowledge and helping someone on their journey, and then even just giving nice gifts for people's birthdays and Christmas. But what I really like about this quote, and this is actually what got me thinking, is when I was listening to Greg Plitt's motivational video. I'm still on his videos because I feel like he's just such an inspiring person. He was talking about putting in the work into the gym, nutrition wise, and the more you put in, the more you get out. So even kind of working off of Josh's quote, the more you put in strength training wise, the better you are outside of the gym. The healthier you eat, the more time you spend meal prepping and even just eating the right stuff and planning it, the more you get out of it. And I think it's just always a direct correlation. Like, nutrition, training, fitness, like, you literally put exactly what you get out of it, right? You put the work in, you get the results afterwards. And it's just such a simple formula that I feel like sometimes people overthink. And it's just, it always pays you back over and over again. So I really like that quote. You can apply it in whatever way you want to, but I think it's an amazing thing to think about this amazing Monday. The more you give, the more you get. Nice and simple.
That is an incredible quote. And just piggybacking on that, speaking with Coach Jason, we were saying how he's been crushing it. He's been filling his obligations with his clients, really going above and beyond, being there for him, just crushing his own personal things. And he's actually getting married this summer, and he's just leaning into it. And he said how he listened to a book from Tony Robbins, and there was a concept in there of stretching yourself. So generally when you stretch yourself, you're stiff, you're like, oh, it's a little uncomfortable. You breathe through it, and then you have new ability because you've overcome that pain. And I think this concept too of like the more you give, the more you get, and the more you challenge yourself also, the more you will adapt to that challenge. Of course, you don't want to burn yourself out or spend yourself, but as you rise to these challenges, you begin to see, hey, I'm capable of more than I thought. And it's really easy to get complacent and comfortable doing nothing or being close to nothing. And then from there, anything can seem challenging, but we've been through phases where it's like, wow, I'm juggling 100 plates. I'm still succeeding. I'm still getting after it. I'm still getting it done. So I like that concept of stretching yourself and trying to do a little bit more, give a little bit more, and see what you can get in return. So don't sell yourself short. And that's where I think just moving ever forward, using an example, one foot in front of the other, looking just how you can be better in small ways, creating small habits, looking at the holes in your game. The more you analyze these things, the more you can stretch your capability, and you'll go quite a long way from that. So that was actually the thought I had on my mind. The second thought I had, and just something I've been re-leaning into, and once again, people will say, what's your favorite quote? And I always say it's how you do anything is how you do everything. I just love that quote, and just the concept of doing the smallest things well, being intentional, being present, being in the moment, not overlooking the process to get to an outcome. Like doing these things just makes every component of life so much more enjoyable. And it's just a thought I continually have. And for me, with my sets, my reps, my eating, my work, my learning, my rest and recovery, any of these things, just how you do anything is how you do everything. And I just wanted to come in once again and hit you with that, especially as we get into the summer shred challenge too. Like even for me, I'm like, hey, I want to go all in this challenge. I'm so pumped to really just make it count, go in with the community, the amazing community we've made, and just transform with other people and just, once again, stretch what I'm capable of. So I'm pretty fired up about that, but really curious to hear what thoughts Coach Kyle has this week.
So I have two thoughts. The main thing there kind of goes, I mean, I feel like every time, like we have a lot of conversations beforehand. We talk a bit at the gym, like we have all these different thoughts and a lot of, relatable things here, especially between the two of us. But it got me thinking about how I really do believe that spending time knowing the numbers, like weighing in, calculating everything, all that stuff, it is super important. But I do believe that the more you detach yourself from the numbers, sometimes the outcome actually ends up being better. So I'm going to relate this to like a social media point of view, because for us, we're consistently uploading on YouTube 2 times a week, no matter what, every week. There's no strings, no excuses, right? Just like our podcast, we have not missed it. And what I started realizing was that although, yes, I want the numbers to be high, I want lots of views to come through, is no matter what, the result will be there. We're going to put in our best foot forward. That's all that matters. And I feel like the more that we've done that over the years, it's just allowed us to become more successful. And I feel like I've struggled with it in the past and this is where it's been great to have Josh on the other end, because there'd be times where the numbers wouldn't be there and I'd be so focused on it that he'd say, hey, just keep going. Just trust the process. Like when we first started our podcast, when we first uploaded some YouTube videos that I thought were like too simple, and then they ended up getting multiple millions of views. So now as we're uploading and getting back into it, this views are starting to show up, and they will just continue to grow afterwards. But I think the main thing here I want to mention is that no matter what the numbers are, we're putting the effort in. And even when I was editing one of the videos, there was a part of me that was like, oh, it's, not as many people will see it. But then I'm like, who cares? Like, I want to be able to put my best foot forward for this edit, similar to what Josh was saying, how you do anything is how you do everything. And I'm like, I don't want to look back on this and it get millions of views and me be like, oh, well, I rushed the edit and, I didn't put the pings on and the emojis and the text and everything that I want to, that's going to make this the best. And that's why I do think when you detach yourself, and especially when it comes to weighing in, when it comes to all that great stuff, when you just focus on the result and just what will come from it versus just day to day, just like constantly dreading and paying attention to the things that won't really move the needle as much, it can become kind of a dry process. Like you may want to quit so much quicker. And I just wanted to relate that to, the overall journey alone. And I really think that when you detach yourself, it just is so much better. So yeah, I wanted to spend some time on that one for sure.
Yeah, this is often something I have to talk to with my clients. And Kyle's point of the scale in particular, especially when you get in the habit of you're putting in work, you're doing everything perfect, you're already down like 20 pounds, a fantastic amount of progress. And then one week it doesn't stick, it sticks, or maybe it goes up half a pound and you go, what the heck is happening? It's easy to freak out, jump into drastic measures. And all the time I'll tell my clients, like especially after a couple days and you get really used to just that progress. I've said before, when you see progress, you get addicted, especially with your journey. When you realize, ooh, I can make change. I can actually really leap really far forward to my goals and my results. It's really quite inspiring. But you'll get these plateaus. You'll get these little periods of time. Maybe it's a week, maybe it's 4 days. Doesn't go down. But all the time I'll have these talks with my clients. I'll say, hey, did you do everything to the best of your ability this week? They're like, yes. I'd be tracking with great accuracy, nailing your numbers. I'm nailing my protein. I'm doing my cardio. I'm doing my workouts. I said, that's all that matters. Like the scale will reflect that eventually. And it's easy to get discouraged because the number isn't there. But as long as you know you're putting in that work, you're confident in the metric of work you're putting out. And even with social media in particular, one thing I heard that I really liked, it was like, would you consume your own content? If not, don't put it out. And that's kind of been my standard. And anyway, especially with editing, because we've been editing so long, we still edit our own videos. I'll just be like, okay, I need to do small little things. Is this audio as great as it can be? Like, what do I not like as a listener? How's the content? How's my enthusiasm? All these different things. So as long as I can stand putting in that work, that's up to the algorithms and everyone else to decide how great it is. But if you're proud of it and you're proud of the work you're putting in, the result will come. Then very often I'll say, hey, be patient, and I can look at the numbers. I know it will work. And then, of course, in a few days, I'll be like, oh my gosh, it went down 3 pounds in one day or something like that. So as long as you're confident in what you're doing. But on the flip side, all the time, people will say, hey, I'm doing everything right. I'm not seeing any change on the scale. And most often I'll hear this from people that aren't my clients. And I'll be like, oh, you are? And they're like, yeah, I mean, absolutely perfect. And I'll be like, okay. But I remember yesterday you said you went out for all you can eat sushi. And they're like, yeah, but that was just one time. And they'd be like, okay, well, on Friday you went to a party and you said you got pretty hammered. And they're like, yeah. And then it's like, okay, but how are your workouts this week? And it's like, oh, I was too busy. I couldn't do a lot of them. And I'm like, once again, this is the opposite here. It's like that work won't produce that result. But if you're truly putting in that work that you know will lead to that result, you can have comfort and solace in that. You need to keep looking forward and not be discouraged just because the quote unquote result doesn't instantly come. But at the same time, you do have to reevaluate and say, have I actually put in as much work as I thought? Am I giving myself the benefit of the doubt? Am I not being as accurate as I can? And like having these reflections, you'll come on one side or the other. Others say, hey, I'm doing it. I'm going to stick to the process. Or you'll say, you know what? I have some opportunities to improve. I know the changes I need to make, and I'll get there eventually.
I mean, I love that because, yeah, like I definitely will always encourage you, like paying attention to the numbers, paying attention to the data. Data does not lie. Numbers don't lie. So that's where it's tough because my message is definitely like, I stand by it where you just, detach yourself. But at the same time, I think sometimes people would detach themselves so much that they don't really actually see what's in front of them. Like they'll say, oh, well, I'm going to detach myself. I'm not going to weigh in and I'm not going to, because I'm, trying to eat better, but I'm not tracking. So and then they kind of just don't care. And then they're like saying, oh, the actions are there, but they're actually not. It'd be like us just like uploading consistently and then never checking in to be like, okay, like how are people actually enjoying this? Like, is this actually working? Are we getting exposure from it? Like it definitely, you have to pay attention to that. But one other thing, random thought that I had on the top of my head. So I randomly came across this on Instagram. It was just something random. It was, and then it got thousands of comments and like a lot of random ones. It said, study, people who post their fitness routine on social media are more likely to have psychological problems. Study reveals. And this is from a page called Wasted. Anyway, so some random study. And the reason I'm bringing this up is not to go into depth on this like ridiculous claim, but I just think it's crazy these days that there's so much like you try to do good out there. You try to, just encourage others. You try to push, a healthy lifestyle on others and just be a great, healthy individual. And there's always like something going on. And I kind of relate this like to, let's say, eating unhealthy or drinking or whatever it is. So I haven't had a drink in, it's been about a month or so, and it's been quite easy for myself. I'm doing a challenge. My friends are on board. Like it's been great. Honestly, like I've absolutely loved it. I'm going to continue to do it just for as long as I want to. But I find even a lot of times someone will have to go through something where like if they don't drink, there's something wrong with them. Like if you're on this healthy lifestyle and you're posting these workouts to, just showcase, hey, here's what I'm doing, I'm living it. But then you do something where you're posting your 17 drinks or whatever. I'm like, oh, it looks like such a great time. Or you post a healthy meal and there'll always be that person thinking, oh, nice veggies. And then like you post something that's not exactly good for you. So what I'm trying to get at here is like really just focus on being the best version of yourself. And I think social media can be such a great place, but then you come across something like this where it's like, come on now, like this is just ridiculous, like such a weird claim that makes absolutely no sense. And I just leaves me wondering, I'm like, man, how many of these people are being like discouraged to be a healthy person? Or, just like, I guess even for those who aren't healthy, like there's reaffirming like, oh, it's okay to, just not be the best version of myself because of all these random claims out there. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. So I just wanted to bring that up as a random thought for today.
And we'll jump into our client shout out. And for our client shout out, we just want to start by complimenting everyone who took advantage of our early access pricing for the Summer Shred Challenge, because this challenge isn't like your typical challenge where you sign up, you get sent a simple little workout and maybe a little PDF, and that's that. We will be coaching you one-on-one through this challenge. You will be on our team. Whichever coach you have, you'll be on their team to try and win this challenge, win the $2,000 grand prize. It's a 30-day challenge, but you will be signed up for that 90-day coaching to enter. And our thought here is we want to help you lose this weight, put on muscle, and then transition out of it to have a successful summer where you can have balance, so you can have your cake and you can eat it too. So once again, if you want to take advantage of this, this is essentially your last chance to take advantage today. Go ahead and DM us Summer Shred on Instagram to @ColossusFit. And also, if you want to just learn more and take a look at what it's all about and maybe consider for next time, right below the keyword in the description of this episode, you'll see our website, summershred.ca. Click that to learn more, and we will definitely take care of you there. Now we're going to reach into our mailbag and answer your questions. So this first question I actually put in here because I thought it'd be a good discussion point. So the first question is it rude to ask someone how many sets they have left? So I don't even really know what it means, but I notice people usually post something and then say stitch incoming or something, and usually it's something that upsets them. And then usually everyone else is getting mad at them for being upset about that thing. And I find that whole thing to be weird, to be honest. Like the whole Joey Swole that he makes his entire living on just calling out other people for calling out people in the wrong ways. It's kind of a weird metric. I don't know. It's kind of funny. And it's funny even seeing some of these old people, not old people, but like the OGs in the fitness industry. And I remember there used to be so much controversy around him because he really pushed a product called Shreds and obviously was on a lot of steroids, and there was like a whole thing going on there and a whole different beast. And it's funny how he's kind of found this really unique niche. Anyways, that's neither here nor there, whether you're a fan or not. I just think it's funny seeing these things come full circle. And I guess another bonus funny thought too is like, it is funny too that a lot of these people will see these big, amazing fitness influencers as like absolutely just like unbreakable, perfect, and like just all these things. And it was even funny because we were out to dinner yesterday, and one of the biggest quote unquote like fitness marketers was there. We're not going to name drop, but it's even funny like seeing them living so outside of what they preach and practice. And it's just interesting too. So you don't have to feel like you have to measure up to this immeasurable amount of success. And just the same people on social media will make themselves look so much more perfect. And that's why we also try with this podcast to explain like the areas we need to improve, the things we're working on, because everyone's human. So don't be let down if you're trying to measure yourself and compare to these different people. And once again, be wary of some of the marketing out there, because it's funny even seeing people outside of their own parameters. But anyways, that's my whole fitness and kind of spiel inside of this. But once again, is it rude to ask someone how many sets they have left? So basically, I saw a video. The girl was standing there at a Smith machine. A guy came up and said, hey, how many sets you have left? And she looked really annoyed by it. And here's the thing. A lot of people were saying this is ridiculous. Asking how many sets you have left is like the way it works. It's what you need to do. And then a lot of other people were saying, you asking me doesn't change how many I have left. And it's funny because I always will ask how many people I have left, and you'll get mixed responses. Before it was a very common thing. It wasn't a big deal. It's like, oh, I got 2 brothers, you want to work in, whatever. Now I've noticed some people will be like, I have 3, and they'll be like so upset at you. And you're like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't know. But what I think with this debate, because there's two sides on the fence, and I actually do have a quote unquote stitch, whatever that is about this, or snitch, I don't know. But for me, I hate while I'm doing a set, I'm focused, I'm breathing, and someone goes, hey, bro, you using this? And like, it was funny too. I was looking at Reddit Fitness or whatever, and they posted about rants, and the top comment was, why, yes, I'm using this hack squat that I'm currently loading plates onto. Like, there's some ridiculous questions, and there's memes where someone will ask if you're using something that's on the other side of the gym. But if it's reasonably in your area, I don't mind. But I think it is totally okay to ask someone how many sets they have left, so you can plan, so you can evaluate whether it's worth waiting or not. Some people might say 10 sets, and like, it's kind of ridiculous, but you don't want to be sitting there for 45 minutes. What you shouldn't do is interrupt someone's set to ask them how many they have left. Just politely wait till the right time. Don't hover awkwardly. I think past that, asking is totally fine. If someone gets upset about that, I think that's a little bit ridiculous. And that's how I feel after being in the gym a long time. What are your thoughts, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm the exact same way. I just, there definitely have been some funny encounters where I'm like mid-set of just something. Usually not like the most intense, but there's been even like a heavy squat and someone will just kind of be pointing at me, like looking to see, like, are you using these fives, or like, can I grab these clips? And I'm like so focused. I'm like, no, like not right now. Like, so that is where I draw the line for sure as well. But yeah, I always do it. I ask in a polite way, hey, someone's on the bench press, they're all taking it. Hey, how many sets do you have? Once again, like Josh said, like the exact same answer. I mean, we work out together every day and we're on the same page there. It's just, it allows you to see, okay, maybe I'll go do something else. Maybe I'll start with something different. Maybe I'll do more mobility. But yeah, I think that's where even some people, like I've been asked before, like, hey, and we'll tell them, hey, I've got 2 sets left, whatever it is. And then someone will be like standing over top of you, just like pressuring you to move or whatever. And it's like, come on now. So yeah, I think really just common courtesy, I think, is a very, I don't know. I see the gym as a really like solid spot, which is kind of funny because like when you go online, and I guess it's kind of scary for some people, like it's just kind of crazy what's going on. Even just a little bit of, a little bit of talk about that Joey Swoll thing is you'll go on the page and beforehand you'll have this thought of, oh, it's a nice positive space. Everyone's cool. And then you see that and you're like, man, what is going on? And these are like one-off stories, or this guy, a Goob U2 or whatever his name is, where he's just calling out every single person. And I'm sure it's, I guess it can do some good to let people know what's going on in the Photoshop and the steroids and the weird things going on. But it is definitely a very negative, toxic space, which is like, it's so hard. It's like it's entertaining, but it's not ideal. But anyways, long story short is, yeah, I think it's totally fine. But once again, you have to always consider, like, is this the right time and place, and like how could I at least ask in a a more courteous manner, I guess, where someone's like actually just like resting or whatever the case is.
All right, question 2. What do you do when you feel unmotivated? So this is a question I'll get asked often, and the reality is you have to do it anyways. If you just wait till you're motivated, you won't get very far. I probably would not get out of bed too often, and once again, you just need to get through these things. So we talk a lot about removing these flinch for these decisions. So even in the morning, I think most people would argue they're not motivated to get out of bed. I mean, if you had it your way, you're like, oh, I'd stay here, it's comfy, it's chill, why rush to do anything? But there's things to get done. Laying in there is going to feel worse. Hitting snooze is going to feel worse, and that's where taking snooze off your phone, putting your phone far away, forcing yourself to just jump up, not think about it, use the 3-second rule, count down 3, 2, 1, jump up. Doing these things obviously is benefit. The days you don't feel like working out, you get in there, you get moving, you get some music going, feels fantastic. You got that workout done. You don't feel like doing anything, you're stuck. I find one of the best things I can do when I'm feeling really lethargic, I'm just feeling tired, is I just go out on a walk. Like, it is the ultimate refresher for me, the ultimate energizer, especially if you get really fatigued around that 2 to 4 p.m. mark. I just find getting outside, being in a walk, being in the fresh air, getting some sunlight, maybe listening to a motivational audiobook or video, or even just some music or nothing at all, and just listening to the birds chirping is incredibly motivating and quite a great reset. So the reality is you can't just rely on being motivated. You need to get in there, build the discipline, construct the habits to make it easier, and that's where you'll see the results come.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. If you're not following us on Instagram, by the way, make sure to do so, because we're always posting fire, motivation, tips, all that great stuff. When we just made a reels the other day, Josh, hitting 6 plates aside on the hack squat, and we just made it so simple. It was like, what do you do when you're unmotivated? do it anyway. And then Jocko Willink with some motivation just behind the scenes on the voiceover. But it's just so true because like if I were to just be able to answer it in like one sentence, that would be it. What do you feel like doing? Or what do you do when you're not motivated? Do it anyway. And it is crazy because I really spend time thinking about what's going on within my mind, my body. Like I actually try to pay attention to these things. And similar to what Josh was just saying there, like those times where I do really feel unmotivated, it's very common for people to just want to do nothing, right? To lay there, to sit on the couch, to do some business, like not to really do a whole lot. But I've definitely paid attention and I've noticed that myself personally, if I stack up a couple wins, it'll end up just leading to me feeling more motivated, such as, a 15-minute walk, such as maybe organizing my desk, like editing something that I didn't want to edit that I was putting off. Like by actually doing the action, it ends up leading to motivation, as funny as that is, right? A lot of times people think it's the other way around, is you have to be motivated to do the action, but oftentimes you have to do the action to then feel motivated. And even when I don't feel like going to the gym, I'm, let's say, unmotivated, but then I go and then I feel super pumped up and wanting to do more and more afterwards. It's kind of like it feels backwards, but it's one of the biggest things that you need to pay attention to. And just something to think about for today for sure.
All right, third and final question for today is, morning, y'all. A question I have is, what is the optimum time to have a rest day? And do you recommend an active rest day with a long walk, bike ride, etc.?
Yeah, really good question. And it's funny, we got asked this twice. And one of my clients, Spencer, just recently asked me about rest days and just kind of like my approach and thoughts and everything like that. And I mean, yeah, rest days are fantastic. I think when it comes down to actually programming it in, it's ultimately whatever works best for you. And I know I say this a lot, but when we program workouts, we don't give specific days to work out because it really is up to you. As long as the end of the week, when we check in, when we check the spreadsheet, if your workouts are done, you've done it with a solid intensity, you've done the best you can, awesome. Now, if you were to say, hey, Kyle, I missed out on the Tuesday and I did them on the weekend, like, is that okay? Absolutely. That is totally fine. But it really is a matter of like first of all, I'd say the biggest thing to consider is your schedule. So if Wednesday you just have a busy 8 to 8 day and there's just no time you can work out, hey, take that rest day. That's awesome. When I used to do a 5-day split, I would love the Friday off. Like, I don't know what it was. I liked Monday to Thursday and then Saturday, just a big juicy workout. Now I just go Monday to Saturday and I feel great. And I couldn't imagine not going on the Friday. Things can definitely change, but when it comes down to that rest day, it's first of all, your scheduling. Second of all, listening to your body. So there would be times where I'd say, okay, I'm going to go Monday to Friday, and that's what I want to do and stay away on the weekend. And then on those times where I just felt so fatigued, this was when I was running a lot, doing all this other stuff, then I would take the Friday and I would listen to my body and then work out on the Saturday. So really, first of all, schedule. Second of all, listening to your body. And when it comes down to just what to do, I highly encourage active rest days. Like every rest day, every Sunday, I aim to do 10,000 steps. I get my body moving. I just try to get outside. Just really anything to still move and to still feel good, because I always pay attention to how great it feels. Spending some time, maybe doing some mobility, catching up on a bunch of things. Like, there's no proper procedure on a rest day what to do. Like, obviously, you should rest your body. You should stay away from weights. But I do believe, like, I used to think that I'd have to stay at home and do nothing. And then, if I got less steps, the better. And I'm like, now I'm under the belief that the more movement I get, the better I feel. So I just try to go on a nice long walk and, rest up and get ready for the Monday workout. But that's all I have to say there.
Yeah, I want to thank you for tuning in with us today. It really does mean a lot. Last day today, May 6th, to join our Summer Shred Challenge. So make sure to reach out for that. We look forward to getting you in here. $2,000 cash prize, one-on-one coaching. You're going to see this transformation through, and we want to see you win. So definitely be sure to reach out to learn more about that, or click the first link right below the keyword in the description of this episode to learn more about that. But once again, we want to thank you for tuning in. This was a jam-packed episode. If you enjoyed it, please let us know. That always does mean a lot. Or share it to your Instagram story. Be sure to tag us on Instagram at ColossusFit. We always love to see that, and it helps you also get great information out to your friends, your family, your community. And we'd love to have them be part of our community, especially if they're as amazing as you are. So thanks for tuning in today. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace out.